All right, welcome back. We're going to look at working on our dragon eye a little bit more. So last time we left, I had pretty much all of it done. I did add a few more details, some of these little scales throughout, just to fill it in a little bit more, but there's my outline. Again, I have a sample I can post for you that shows you a few different outlines for the eyes, so you could make them a little different than the version that I did. Okay, so there's a few different ideas that you might like. So I'll make sure those are posted when you sketch yours. Now the next step is coloring, and I really like shading when I color. So that means I'm not just going to do solid colors. I like to mix and blend. One easy way to do that is to stick with warm colors or cool colors. So some of the art or some of this piece could be done with yellows, oranges, reds, okay? And maybe some parts I could use blues or greens and things like that. Warms and cool colors really mix well. They'll blend well together. So if I do all warm together, I'm good. If I do all cool together, I'll be fine. Okay? So, and maybe you do a little bit of both. Like maybe the inside of the eye is warm colors and the outside is all cool colors. Or I could flip-flop. This could be cool colors and these could all be warm colors. Or I could stick with a theme. Maybe the whole entire picture is done with just warm colors. But either way, I'm just going to show you a little bit about shading with these and mixing the colors. Instead of just doing one solid color only when we do this, I think it would turn out better if we did kind of a mixture of colors. Okay, so, or blending the color. So basically, I can use these to do a combination. Maybe I start off with these three here and skip this really dark one for now. And I could use that in the eye. I could use it in the scales. So say in the scales, for example, I could start off on the edge and I can make them all match. The left edge is my darker color. I color it nice and smooth. And then I'm going to fade it in a little bit so it's a little bit lighter. Then I'll switch. Overlap. So I'm coloring over, and then this will just be the orange, and then I'll fade this out so it's a little bit lighter. Then I could switch, get some yellow in here. So I could do something like that for all of the scales. I could leave highlights in here if I want, so that I have areas where it's lighter. I'm not sure if my white colored pencil will work on top of this. I haven't really tested that yet. Nah, it doesn't really show up. Okay, I could add highlights, but this doesn't really show up. So I would have to do that before I colored it. So if I want some of those highlights, I'd have to figure out where they were first. Like maybe I want to leave a little highlight on the scale, like right along the edge here. I could draw a little line there. Okay, and then when I color this, oops, wrong one. When I color this area, I'm going to leave that little space white. Then switch. And then work my way to the corner. Then I have a little highlight along the edge of the scales if I want to do some highlights like that. Or maybe I want to highlight right here on the coloring. I'm just trying to show you a few different ways that you could try that. So maybe I draw a little highlight right here, and then I'll color and leave that little spot white, and then work my way across, switching colors and fading them across. Okay, I got a little more yellow there than I wanted, so I could easily take this orange and fill it in a little bit more with orange. But I like that idea for coloring these. So maybe I do warm colors for my scales and then switch to cool colors in the eye, warm colors for the whole thing. I could do a combination. Maybe this is warm colors, and then I switch to cool colors, and then I switch back to warm colors. So it's kind of up to you. You can play around with that a little bit. But since I started with the theme of warm colors, I'm going to switch and do the cool on the inside just to make it look different. So you can see the difference. So I'll grab a couple different greens, one of my blues. If you have different shades of blue, you can use more than one blue. Right now, all I have is a regular blue, but if you have different shades of them, you can do that. So maybe I'll start with my blue in the corner, and go around the edges, and then I could go to a lighter blue. Now I'm not pressing as hard, so darker on the edges and a little lighter in the middle. This is what I mean by shading. We can make things look even better by shading or even blending colors. So I'm going to do that on this side and get the blue started. And if you need to practice this a little bit, you could practice on a scrap paper. Shading, so it's like a nice blend of color. And then I'm going to get a little lighter as I get closer to the middle. Alright, maybe I switch to a different color and I can get some green in here. So I'm overlapping with my green, and that's going to fade in a little bit closer to the middle. A little bit more green. I can fade in closer, and then maybe I'll switch to my lighter, more yellowy green and blend that in. And that could be what you do in the scales too. So if you like this better than the warm colors, you could stick with cool colors throughout the scales. I'm just doing a little of both so you can see what it might look like on yours. Okay, now the eye. Maybe the eye has some green and some yellow. I'm going to go around the edges with this green. Do a little bit of green in here. Maybe brighten it up with some yellow so the inside looks even brighter. There you go. So I could have some color in that. That could also be black. It'd kind of look cool to make that dark. Let me try that on mine. I'm going to color over this just to darken it and see. Oh yeah, that looks pretty cool. I kind of like that. Maybe I'll do that with mine. Leave the highlight though. I drew that highlight in there before I started because I like the highlights. Maybe I leave a little yellow glare in there. Okay, I can even go back with my black colored pencil and add some shading. I can darken the corners with my black colored pencil. Okay, so it looks pretty cool. I mean, it's starting to really work a little bit. I could go around here a little bit more, darken some edges. Okay, so that gives you an idea of what you can do with these colored pencils. And these are nothing special. These are just regular old Crayola colored pencils. Some highlights here and there, some highlights on the scales, blending from dark color and getting lighter and lighter as you go across with your cool, warm colors, or doing the same with cool colors. So anyways, that gives you kind of an idea of how to get going. You can do more with yours. I forgot I like to put a glare on the eyes somewhere in here too. I kind of forgot that, but somewhere in here I might put like a little reflection or a glare. I might even be able to do that with my eraser still. A lot of times, even with colored pencil, you can lighten with your eraser. So I could create a highlight afterwards and just erase a light spot. There we go, that actually worked fine. So I could create some of those highlights afterwards if I want. So there's a highlight on the eye. I could put another one over here somewhere if I want to add a glare or a highlight. A lot of times I do those ahead of time, I just kind of forgot, but my eraser's working fine to lighten that area. So I can imagine there's some highlights on the eye. That looks pretty nice. So anyways, that gives you the idea. Have fun coloring it. Like I said, do some blends of colors or some shading, dark to light, and see what you come up with.